Happy Yule, YouTube! Since today is Yule, I'm gonna do a fairly light video. I don't feel like tackling any serious topics today, so I'm going to do the book buying tag. I forget where I saw the book buying tag, but it's probably from one of the booktubers that I know online. And these are the questions. And yes, I'm doing another tag because I find them interesting and they are really simple. Okay, 1. Where do you buy your books from? Well, the majority of the books I buy are from thrift shops and yard sales and flea markets and my grocery store. People donate books and you buy them, and the money goes to charity, and they switch out the charities from like a week or every 2-week basis. So that's where I get most of my books. Occasionally I will buy them on the Amazon secondary market, and occasionally I will buy them new, but it doesn't happen very often. I prefer being cheap. 2, do you ever pre-order books, and if so, do you do it in-store or online? Yes, I do in fact pre-order books on occasion, and I don't know if I have ever pre-ordered a book in a store. I think every single time I've ever pre-ordered has been online. And for example, I've had a couple of gaming books on order, one for 23 months and the other one for 3 years. Still haven't seen those yet, but the people involved keep telling me that they are still viable projects. On average, how many books do you buy a month? I would probably say somewhere between 4 and 8, maybe. That sounds about right. Do you use your local library? I think it's supposed to say, do you use your local library? No, I don't. I don't have a library card any longer, but my reading tastes are very eclectic, and I do not know from book to book what I'm going to want to read next. And I don't like knowing that I have to have a book done by X period of time. And so I don't mind spending between $1 and $3 for a book. Let it sit on my shelf for as long as I bloody well want to. Read it when I'm done, either pass it on to someone else, occasionally keep it, but most often donate it to someone, charity, or someone I work with, or like, for example, the home where my wife's grandmother lives. I've donated some books there before too. If so, how many books can you or do you borrow at a time? At this point in my life, I would say 0. However, there was a time in my life when I borrowed books voraciously. When I was a teenager, I was reading fiction at the time. In the summertime, for example, I would frequently read a novel a day, so I could go, I'd be going to the library twice a week. What is your opinion on library books? I consider libraries to be one of the cornerstones of democracy and a free and educated public. I consider it to be one of the most important institutions that has ever been created by man. So that's how I feel about libraries. How do you feel about charity shops, secondhand books? I'm all for them. I donate to them regularly. I've got 3 stacks of books on my porch right now waiting to go out. And I buy them all the time. I love them. I don't care if the book is used. In fact, my biggest criteria most of the time when I'm buying books in the last few years has been size. I want to have a book that I can take to work with me and have to be able to hold in one hand because I'm eating with the other on breaks. So sometimes my reading will be affected by the fact that the book is too large for that set of criteria. Which means I do occasionally mix out on books, but I don't read my nonfiction books at home very often. Usually at home I'm reading gaming books, occasionally a graphic novel, things like that. 8, do you keep your read and to be read piles together on the same bookshelf or separate? My to be read pile is a 6-foot bookshelf in the corner, and overflowing a 6-foot bookshelf in the corner here in my office, and that's pretty much where I only keep my books to be read. The books that I have read or my reference books and those are the ones I'm keeping, are spread around the rest of the apartment in the other bookshelves. And of course, I donated quite a few books. I probably only keep about 10% of the books that I read nowadays. Do you plan to read all the books that you own? Well, I think in theory I plan to read them all, but there have been cases, for example, quite a few of the books that are currently waiting to be donated from me at the moment are books that I bought and never read. Because at the time I bought them, I wanted to read them, and having gone through my to be read shelf to make a little more room for some stuff that came in, or I picked up, I realized that I had either read things that made those books superfluous, or the books were no longer pertinent to what I'm looking for in a book at the moment, and I was never going to return to that topic. So it was just taking up space and keeping a book off the market that someone else could read and get something out of. For example, I own a book. It's currently on the porch at the moment, about oil burners. Because when I purchased it, I knew that someday I would own a home, and I did not know if I would own a home with an oil burner. I don't. Don't need the book anymore. 10. What do you do with books that you own but feel you will never read, didn't enjoy? I donate them. There's only ever been one book that I wanted to destroy, and that went into the recycling bin. I actually recycle, the things that get recycled. And my wife, distraught at this thought, took it to college with her and put it into the still good pile, and it disappeared. It was a book that dealt with how to raise healthy boys. I've been looking for the male version of Reviving Ophelia for decades, and I have yet to find the male version of the book Reviving Ophelia. Reviving Ophelia is one of the most important books about adolescent girls ever written, and I've been looking for the male version of that book since I read it, and I've never found it. And the book, I don't remember the name of it, that I wanted to destroy, basically got 40 pages in, and it sounded okay, and it sounded okay, and then it came to violent video games and comic books and negative. It's all these sexist, ancient, tired tropes that were just so stereotypically horrible, male bashing. Essentially, boys are hard to raise and are difficult to because they're just males. It was horrible. So I didn't finish that book, and again, I just wanted to toss it away. But my wife saved it. Do you ever donate books? Yes. 12. Have you ever been on a book buying ban? Yes. It has never worked well. I have tried. In fact, I was on a gaming book buying ban for a while, and then one day I went to a gaming store and I cracked and spent like $130. Because I'm just like, I need gaming books. And so I went and got them. And 13, do you feel that you buy too many books? Yes. Yes, I do. I freely admit this. I do not hide it. I do not try to make excuses. Sorry, there's cat hair everywhere, thanks to Mandarin. Get out of my way. But yeah, I buy too many books. My friend Sarah and I have that in common. I'll probably send her a copy of this because she will probably appreciate this tag. And for all I know, she's the one I got it from. But yeah, I buy way too many books. I know this, and in fact, the last bargain video I did, halfway through the video, I went and purged my bookshelf slightly so that I could justify keeping the books I just purchased, because a lot of them were pretty darn cool. In fact, I'm currently reading Packing for Mars, which is one of the books I got in that bargain video, and it's excellent. So yes, too many books. Always have, probably always will. But because of the way I buy them, for a quarter or 50 cents or $1, maybe like $3 is usually the top I pay for a book most of the time. Nonfiction books, you gotta buy them when you find them. Otherwise, you're never gonna see them again. So, that's just the way it is. And again, too many books. So I'm going to put the questions here, and I would recommend anyone who'd like to respond, feel free either in the comment section, because now we have no character limit, or in a video response, and just post a link in the comment section as well, because we can do that as well now. And actually, it's interesting when you do that. It actually gives you the title of your video. It doesn't just give the Earl gobbledygook that you see on the screen at the top of the head. So that's kind of interesting. So maybe there are maybe some of the changes they made are actually not horrible, but it wasn't worth the fusion, the merger with G+. No, it wasn't. So tell me, what are your book buying habits? And happy Yule. Happy holidays.